Allah, Alahayna Yahaw, Bashim Hawashah, Mashiach, Wamalaki, Bashim Hawakakuras, Barakatham, the water Baba Bawa, Kwam Yashrab, double honor to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who teach us daily, to the men out there teaching the light-wise doctrine and city Shalom. Today we're going to get into the rulers of this earth are wicked, basically. And it's basically how, explaining how Cotton Swab got everybody doing his bidding in these countries, as far as how they set up puppets in these countries to do their bidding. That's basically what's going on. Now, I got a video from Redacted. So all you brothers and sisters out there, if you haven't subscribed to Redacted, I highly recommend that you do, because they are a very good source of what's going on in the world. And they cover a lot of topics that the mainstream media ignores or try to keep you out the loop. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this video. But first, let me get the scripture. This is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked, because the faces of the judges thereof not wearing who is he. Let's go ahead and grab the video.
All right, well, here is a question for you. Why has the World Economic Forum been so amazingly successful? The World Economic Forum, founded by Klaus Schwab, is not just a benign organization that pushes agenda items like transhumanism, 15-minute cities, the end of combustion engines, climate lockdowns, digital currency, the elimination of cash, the elimination of sovereign governments. This is basically what they want, right? It would be one thing if all of these items were just pie in the sky ideas, but it's quite another thing how all of these things are actually coming to pass. Many governments have been implementing many of their policies, not just in the United States, but in France and New Zealand and Canada and Australia, Ireland, the Netherlands. The list is actually frighteningly long. How does this happen? How did they get so strong? Well, it turns out that the World Economic Forum has a very good farm system. You know, it's like Major League Baseball and the minor league baseball teams. Like they farm it out and they start them young. A grooming program, if you will, called the Young Global Leaders of the World Economic Forum. Now, we've covered this a bit on the show, but I want to do more of a deep dive now, because what they do is they seek you out. They groom you. They place you into this program. There's just one caveat. You need to be young. You need to be 40 or under. So that
now, a good example of this is Barry Soetoro. Y'all know him as Barack Obama. Now, I don't know if he was under in this program, but he went through one just like it to prepare him for presidency. And he's also related to the Bushes. Yes. Obama is related to the Bushes. And his real name is Barry Soetoro. And his wife's real name is Michael. It's a man. Let's go.
That you can then infiltrate these governments and do the bidding of the World Economic Forum.
It's like a kids club.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like, okay, you know, we're getting you started young. We're getting you started so you can be indoctrinated and then rise up inside of this organization. Now, the expose did a great job cataloging just a few of these World Economic Forum young leaders who ended up infiltrating these governments and then running the show, basically. And they explain, quote, the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders program, founded in 2004, is designed to cultivate a network of exceptional individuals under the age of 40 from various fields, including business, politics, academia. Schwab has openly admitted that these young global leaders are infiltrating governments around the world. And he gloats about it, by the way. So let's just start with Justin Trudeau as an example here, the Prime Minister of Canada, dictator Justin Trudeau. Trudeau has implemented dystopian policies that align with, of course, a lot of what the World Economic Forum wants and their globalist vision for the world. Here are just a few examples. Carbon pricing and climate change policies, according to the expose. Trudeau's government has implemented a carbon pricing system which is exactly what the WEF wants, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, aligning with the World Economic Forum's focus on sustainability, environmental responsibility. Also, internet regulation. We've been covering the internet regulation here on the show from Trudeau for many, many months now. Of course, in the wake of the trucker convoy and all of the clampdowns on free speech and misinformation and disinformation that he loves to talk about, right? They've absolutely pushed for measures that could infringe on freedom of speech in that country. That's exactly what the World Economic Forum wants. Pandemic response, right? The COVID-19 response. Trudeau's government has implemented all sorts of measures to control the spread of COVID-19, pushing lockdowns, of course, travel restrictions, and vaccine mandates. Although last week he tried to rewrite history and pretend that he didn't push people to get vaccines at all, which was laughable. And then he acknowledged that there's problems with the vaccines. He started saying that for the first time, like he's trying to rewrite history. All of these measures that we talked about, and there's more, of course, his clampdowns on the media, picking and choosing what media gets to have an audience with the government of that country, or registering to be a media organization, a news organization, only if you ask favorable questions or you are ideologically aligned with the Trudeau government. Here is
transhumanism by way of, human-assisted suicide for just people who are depressed.
Yeah, and leading the push on that, right? Like talk about the transhumanism, like you feel depressed? Well, why not take some pills, end your life early?
Yeah.
Yeah, forgot about that one. Let's add that to the list. Here's Klaus Schwab praising Trudeau, one of his young proteges.
$69 US Special Forces device turns men into beasts. It emulates 54,000 crunch.
But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Isn't that sick and disgusting?
See, he just admitted it. See, now I got a scripture. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 12. If a ruler hearkens to lies, all his servants are wicked. All right. Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Sirach chapter 14, verse 17. And if he do it good, he do it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. All this is leading up to the MOTV.
That's frightening. Like I went to a reception for Justin Trudeau yesterday, and I was looking around, and more than half of his cabinet members are all members of the World Economic Forum. Young.
See, so they plant these people in governments to do their bidding. That's why you're gonna have a whole bunch of unrighteous decrees. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that one. You're gonna have a whole bunch of laws that don't make sense because these people are doing the bidding of these Edomites. That's why they was able to take them truckers' money. They shut them up, Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and their right grievousness which they prescribe. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. You know why? Because all the fathers, all the males are going off to war. At least the eligible ones.
Global leaders group. Like we've penetrated, infiltrated these cabinets. And that's just one. That's just one example in Canada. A member of the young global leader class of 2020, very, very young, Sanna Marin, who became the world's youngest serving prime minister when she took office in...
See, there's another recruit that's doing the bidding of Esau, Edom.
2019 in Finland. She's been a vocal advocate of all sorts of crazy progressive policies, obviously climate change mitigation, but all sorts of gender equality issues. I'm trying to think what else in Finland she's been responsible for that is incredibly troubling.
I'm going to use this term that people go crazy for when I say she's a COVID media darling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she loved COVIDism. So yes, absolutely. So Sanna Marin, also member of the Young Global Leaders. So she rose to the level of prime minister. See how this happens?
She also was voted out.
Yeah.
As prime minister recently.
So, but the thing is, when they get voted out, then they become, in some ways, more powerful because now they're being used for other purposes. Just like Jacinda Ardern, who was voted out, or not voted out, decided to leave early under mysterious circumstances in New Zealand. Why was she sort of pushed out? Because now she's being used for other purposes. Ardern is a member of the Young Global Leaders portion of the World Economic Forum.
Now, see, one thing don't let this throw you. All these extravagant names, young leaders, all these names. No, this is Edom. All of these are Edomites. They hide themselves under titles, labels, names. These are Edomites doing the bidding of Edomites. That's all it is. Don't let these titles and these labels throw you. They like to hide. Let me get it. This is Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death. Hold on, let me get the whole scripture. This ain't, I don't think this all is. Oh, yeah, here we go. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. See, this is that prideful thinking of Esau. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. They also hid themselves under good intentions for the people. No, these people want to destroy you. It just came out yesterday that one of these Edomites said that they wanted to depopulate the planet by 86%. So how can they have your best interest in heart if their end game is to murder you? That's Esau Edom.
Of 2014, class of 2014. She's, of course, she's been heavily criticized for all of the excess deaths. Over 3,000% increase in excess deaths due to mandatory COVID-19 vaccination laws in New Zealand.
So, see, but she's still pushing, knowing what this shit gonna do. We told y'all, don't trust these Edomites. You see these smiles? That's the smiles of wickedness right there. Sirach chapter 10, verse 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Psalm chapter 58, verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And they mastered it to the point they'll look you straight in the eye with a smile on their face and lie to you. Like they got your best interest in heart, but no, they want to murder you. Job chapter 15, verse 35. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Second Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us. We are not ignorant of his devices. Job chapter 13, verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. That's why they're pushing that jab, knowing what it was going to do. See, these are the people of no integrity. Lie straight to your face, murder you, and hold themselves not guilty. Let's get it. Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Many of your so-called black leaders, they don't pity you because they're in line with these people as well. Let's go.
Zealand that Jacinda Ardern enforced at the behest of the World Economic Forum. She's no longer prime minister, but now, of course, she's being used by the World Economic Forum to fly around the world to promote all sorts of things about extreme government policies, media control, censorship, misinformation, disinformation. That's her new modus operandi on taxpayer dollars, by the way, for the World Economic Forum. So even though she's not prime minister anymore, who cares? There's other members of the global young elite that are part of the World Economic Forum that are part of this parliamentary office anyway. It doesn't matter about her. She's doing the bidding in other ways now. And perhaps worst of all is Emmanuel Macron. Of course, there he is, standing next to his buddy, Klaus Schwab. He was a member of the Young Global Leadership Class of 2016.
Once again, another Edomite doing the bidding of Edomite. Sirach chapter 12, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. That's the genocidal ass Edomites, a race of genocidal people. They could take out a whole race of people and won't even lose no sleep. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 28, for they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them.
Before being elected to office. And Macron has implemented several policies, many. So his list is long. He's probably got the longest. He even beats Trudeau in my mind for like frighteningly scary World Economic Forum leader. Surveillance, security measures. Think about what he did during for COVID passports, right? And passport restrictions and monitoring all of that COVID-19 response, potential erosion of freedoms with all sorts of measures to allegedly curb and spread the virus, seriously impeded human rights, eroded individual freedoms. Introduction of the health passports, the vaccine passports, proof of vaccination, or required a negative test to go into certain public spaces, like even to just go into public spaces, personal liberties infringements, of course, exactly what the World Economic Forum wants, digital transformation and privacy concerns. He promoted digital transformation within France and the European Union, according to the expose. For example,
See all this unrighteous shit? Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. As far as Schwab and the rest of these little flunkies, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yeah, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. But see, he's gonna get behind the podium and talk all that smooth shit, knowing his true intent is to murder. Psalm chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Y'all better keep in mind these people end game. I don't care how they try to sweeten the deal for you. Remember, their end game is for you to be dead.
Facial recognition technology in public spaces, for just being in a public space, like I'm being analyzed and put into a database. Labor reforms, all sorts of increasing to reduce unemployment through labor reforms that they're going to undermine workers' rights and, of course, protections for workers. So job insecurity, income inequality, a lot of different things that he's put in place over the years. So Emmanuel Macron on that list. Anything else you can think of from Emmanuel Macron?
removal of cheap energy, environmentalism. He's one of those.
Absolutely. Yeah. In favor.
COVIDism.
From what I saw some
Go
I
ahead.
saw some videos that he's apparently incredibly popular in France for the retirement age, just sort of ramming that through without any votes. Yeah, the change in retirement age.
Yeah,
I saw it
that
looked
went
like people were really happy.
Yeah, they're really cheering. They were in the streets really cheering and applauding that in France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him lighting some fires so that they were sure that he would know that they support him by shining a light on all of Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would love to
very
know
popular.
how many people in the Biden administration. Obviously, Biden is not a member of the young global leaders. He
aged out.
He aged out of that. He's probably a member of the seniors club of.
He might as well be. He's a puppet too. I'm gonna read it again, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. Now he just said that they were protesting burning fires because this man enraged the age of retirement. Why? Because they want you dead before you can collect your money. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
World Economic Forum, but I don't know if they have that or not. He gets a discount at 5:00 for the early bird special. But I wonder how many people inside of Biden's cabinet are actually members of the World Economic Forum Young Global Leadership Council. It'd be fascinating to see.
Yeah.
Because hey, Biden gets pushed out, doesn't matter because there's other guys right there ready to go and sign in. By the way, I should point out Putin was also a member of the Young Global Leaders group back in the day.
Oh.
And
Has he gone rogue then?
I guess he's probably like completely been like, boy, I should not have. I think and that was one of the things that Putin talked about was like trying to come to the table to have dialogue with these other countries. I mean, he's talked repeatedly over the years about trying to join NATO and having a dialogue where we could come together, but he was always rebuked. He was always said, no, you can't. We need to have an enemy. The United States needs an enemy in somebody like Putin. And now, of course, it's China as well. So
That's exactly, he hit it dead on the head. The United States needs an enemy to carry out their wickedness. If they can't make you an enemy, they will provoke you so that you will become an enemy. Or they will lie on you and demonize you to make you out to be the bad guy. Remember, the United States has always been the biggest terrorist on this planet. But it ain't shit for them to lie on you and say you are just because you won't bow down to their will. That's the United States. United Snakes, I would say.
interesting. He must have. I wonder if he's in alignment on any of these issues, any of these major issues, because in all of his speeches, at least over the past year, all of his speeches totally crap on exactly what's being talked about here at the World Economic Forum. And his energy policies totally crap on everything that the World Economic Forum is doing.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, I don't know what the life was like of someone living during COVID restrictions in Russia, how much the vaccines were rolled out. That's one thing, but we do know that, the labor market reforms, the environmentalism, the censorship. Again, we'll leave that one aside. They're just things we still don't know. But these guys are like stamp out, carbon cutouts, the ones we've just gone over.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to wonder if there's like they let in some of these bigger world leaders just to like have them have a seat at the table, or they to try to offer some sort of legitimacy. Last year, someone pointed out in the chat he was banned from coming to Davos. So Putin was banned from coming to Davos last year, of course. So
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been excommunicated, I guess, from the Klaus Schwab Club.
And now there is.
Yeah, if you're
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if your country doesn't start with a G, like the G7, the G20, like that, you're not invited. It's just you have to have that G in there. So
And
And the G summit ain't nothing but let me see if I can find a picture. See, they hide behind names and titles and things. This is and all of this is ultimately aimed at trying to exterminate Israel because the Israelites are awakening. This is Psalm chapter 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, Come on, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They are against us because they don't want us ruling over them. But guess what? It's not up to them. So that's why they're getting all desperate and dangerous, because they know that they have but a short time. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12.
Now there is talk about whether or not South Africa will remove itself from certain Western organizations because there is this international warrant for arrest for Putin, and there will be a BRICS conference in.
Now, why is there a warrant for Putin? When Trump has two, arrest warrant for rape and arrest warrant for murder of General Soleimani. They ain't forgot. But see, you don't hear about this. So what they do, they let me get it. Let me just get it. Let's go to the book of John. Now I explain the whole thing. Oh, let me find it here. But this is what they do all the time. Okay, this is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. Ye of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there's no truth in him. Now listen to this part. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar of it. For he is a liar and the father of it. Now let's go back to when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. Meaning when he lies on you, he telling you what he did. For example, the Nord Stream pipeline. When it mysteriously exploded, what did the United States do? They said Russia did it. Now, why would Russia blow up their own pipeline when they got an on and off switch? And another thing, a couple of days ago, a couple of drones flew over the Kremlin and exploded. The United States said the Russians did it. So when he lies on you, he's actually telling you what he did. That's Esau Edom. Just like they're trying to pin this man for war crimes. No. Joe Biden needs to be arrested for war crimes when he blew up that pipeline, because that was a declaration of war. You're attacking a whole continent's infrastructure. But see, just like the scripture says, they're not in trouble as other men.
South Africa later on this year, in which case it would obligate South Africa to detain President Putin. And South Africa says, we're not removing memberships from any groups, but we're not exactly going to do that either. So will he even come, or will he send somebody else? So who knows at this point?
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at.
Okay, we can come out of this. Yeah, man. That's what they do. They plant people in spots. It's called coup. It's a coup. They plant their own little puppet in there to do their bidding. If the original president don't want to do it, they'll either assassinate him or they'll find some way to get him out of there, and then they'll just inject their own. And these other nations are getting tired of the bullshit. Let's get a few more scriptures that we can close. Sirach chapter 10, verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. This is not it. Let's keep going. Just like in that article I put up in that video yesterday, they said they wanted to eliminate 86% of the global population peacefully. There's no such thing. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. But when they say peace and safety, just like they did with the jab, sudden destruction cometh upon them as travaileth upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Told y'all, don't trust these people, especially if you're Israelite, so-called Black, Native American, Hispanic, or Latino. Now, this scripture here, this is talking about how all these diseases just pop up last night, but yet they know everything about it because they designed it. Where all these viruses coming from that's popping up? Where have they been dormant at for millions and thousands of years? No, that was the CDC for Center for Death Control. Sirach chapter 12, verse 17, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Y'all ain't learned that yet. Y'all want to trust him so bad. You want to love him so bad. This man hates your guts and always will. This is a perpetual hatred that goes all the way back to the book of Genesis. But y'all think he gonna change. He can change. Y'all like some battered women victims. This man beat your ass every night, yet you still trying to find a way to love him. He gonna change. A lot of women found out the hard way. He ain't gonna change because guess what? They died or they were murdered. Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 29. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery and have vexed the poor and needy. Yeah, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully, and they still doing it to this day. But y'all still want to love him. Y'all still want to trust him. Still want to believe his buttery lies. Keep it up. Psalm chapter 5, verse 9. But there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre. They flatter with their tongue. Some buttery words. Y'all just top them up with a biscuit. And this is how they think. Psalm chapter 49, verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. They think they're always going to be in power. And their dwelling places through all generations, they call their lands by their own names. Williamsburg, St. Petersburg, America, best future. The Scipio Africanus. Asia, same way. I forgot his name, but Asia was named after an Edomite too. Psalm chapter 37, verse 32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. But they just come up with little indirect, roundabout ways to do it that y'all can't even see. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well toward his going. You just don't take everything these people say at face value. Daniel chapter 8, verse 25. And through his policy also shall he cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. There you go again, that P word. When he say peace, you better run like hell instead of running to him. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without him. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 10. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. This man don't know how to do right because he was created to be the wicked. Why can't you people understand that? All this wicked shit he's been doing since he's been in rulership. Y'all still looking for little ways to trust him and love him. It's gonna get you 6 feet deep. Cause you want to love him so bad. You want to trust him so bad. Okay, go ahead. And we can end on this one. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Perdition means chaos, anarchy. That's his goal. He wants chaos in these streets so he can bring in martial law and assume complete control. Because when there's chaos and anarchy in the streets, Constitution out the window, Bill of Rights out the window, Declaration of Independence out the window. Not that those documents mean anything anyway. So you people think you got rights. No. You only have the illusion that you have rights. You see how quick they took your freedom of speech. But y'all go ahead and let me know how that turned out for you. Call Allah, Hayya now, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh, Shah, Mashiach, wa Malaki, Bashim, Hawa, Waka, Korash, Baraka, Thumb, Wada, Baba, Baba, Kwam, Yashra. Shalom.